A hush fell over the Duggar universe, a quiet so profound it became louder than any announcement. For weeks, a question lingered in the digital air, a gentle suspense built on Instagram hints and family sidesteps. And then, without fanfare, it was answered. Jana Duggar, the sister who stayed, the perpetual helper, the enigma wrapped in a modest dress, had crossed a threshold. She and her husband, Stephen Wisman, quietly welcomed their first child, a son, Archie Gerald Wisman. The announcement, when it came, was not a blaring headline but a soft-spoken revelation. Intimate, sun-drenched photos of a newborn, tiny fingers curled, a mother's serene gaze. Accompanied by a caption that, for this family, felt revolutionary. They wanted time, Jana explained. Time to settle into their new rhythm before sharing. A simple, almost universal desire for privacy in those fragile first days. But within the context of the Duggar dynasty, a family whose very identity was built on public chronicles of courtship, marriage, and multiplying quivers full, this single line wasn't just an explanation. It was a declaration. A subtle, powerful drawing of a boundary. This is not a story about a celebrity baby name, though we will get to that. This is a story about a narrative, 30 years in the making, quietly pivoting. It's about Jana Duggar, the individual, finally stepping out from the long shadow of 19 kids and counting and into the soft, private light of her own making. To understand the weight of this moment, the emotional tremor it sent through a dedicated fan base, we have to rewind. We have to look at the path that led here. Jana's story, until now, was the story of the cornerstone, the reliable one. In the bustling, often chaotic ecosystem of the Duggar household, she was a constant. While her sisters embarked on courtships, said "I do" in televised weddings, and began their own journeys of motherhood, often under the watchful eye of cameras, Jana remained. She was the organizer, the teacher, the gentle authority to her younger siblings. The world watched, and it speculated. It crafted narratives of waiting, of patience, of a life on hold. The why became a puzzle for viewers, a source of gentle, often invasive, fascination. Was she content? Was she trapped? Was she simply different? Her courtship with Stephen Wisman was itself a study in quietude. It unfolded off-screen, away from the structured, parent-mediated process her older siblings had experienced. It was discovered by fans through traces, a sighting, a social media follow, a hymn sung together. Their wedding was a private affair, a stark contrast to the national televised events of her sisters. It was a choice. Then came the pregnancy announcement, again, a softer, more controlled reveal. And now, the birth. A completely private event, only shared once the new family unit had found its footing. This pattern is the thesis of Jana's new chapter. It is a conscious, consistent curation of privacy. In a family where the personal was so often the public commodity, her choices read like a quiet manifesto. And that brings us to the name they chose, Archie Gerald Wisman. Names in the Duggar universe are never just names. They are signposts, tributes, theological statements. They follow patterns, J-names for the original 19, then themes for the grandchildren. Archie breaks the mold. It is vintage, it is gentle, it feels both sturdy and sweet. It is decidedly not a biblical heavyweight like Jeremiah or Isaiah, nor a virtue name like Hope or Grace that populate the extended clan. It stands apart. It feels personal. Fans immediately dissected its potential origins. A connection to Stephen's family? A nod to its meaning, truly brave? Or simply a name they loved, free from external expectation? The middle name, Gerald, provides the anchor. It is Stephen's father's name, a traditional tribute that roots the child in his paternal lineage. So we have Archie, the fresh, independent choice, and Gerald, the honoring of heritage. The name itself becomes a metaphor for Jana's journey, stepping into a new, self-defined identity while still maintaining connection to her roots. It is a bridge between the world she was born into and the one she is building. The reaction from within the Duggar and Bates spheres has been tellingly emotional. This wasn't just another congratulations. The comments from her sisters Jessa, Jill, Jinger carried a weight of profound joy, a deeper resonance. They spoke of knowing how wonderful a mother she would be, of tears shed. It felt like a collective exhale, a celebration not just of a baby, but of Jana arriving at this moment, in her own time, on her own terms. The Bates sisters, close friends from a parallel reality TV dynasty, echoed this. Their responses weren't the standard well wishes. They were effusive, personal, layered with an understanding of the unique path she walked. Compare this to past Duggar baby announcements. They were often public events. Gender reveals with exploding confetti, birth timelines documented for TLC specials, the first photos released through magazine deals. The narrative was collective, a production for the audience. Jana's experience is the antithesis. The timeline was private. The first photos were shared directly with followers, in a format she controlled. The narrative is intimate, reflective. This difference is stark, and it is everything. It prompts a larger reflection on what privacy means after a lifetime in the public eye. For the older Duggar children, particularly the daughters, their journey into adulthood has been a public negotiation with that legacy. Jill's path has been one of open reevaluation and boundary setting, documented in a book and interviews. Jinger's has involved theological exploration and a physical move, discussed in her own writing. Jess's has largely remained within the expected framework, but shared on her own YouTube terms. Jana's path is different yet again. It is not characterized by public confrontation or explanation. It is characterized by quiet action. By doing, not saying. By simply living her life with a lowered curtain. In an era of oversharing, her choice to undershare is perhaps the most radical statement of all. So, what does this mean for the idea of Jana Duggar? The public persona is softening, reshaping around the edges. The sister mom label is dissolving. The speculation about her life is being answered not with words, but with images of a serene mother in her own home, with a husband by her side, with a child in her arms. She is redefining herself through action. She is demonstrating that one can step away from the center of the narrative without disappearing, that one can honor family while crafting a distinct family culture. This moment also reflects a shift in the audience, the fans who have followed this family for nearly 2 decades. Their emotional reaction to Archie's birth isn't just about a new baby. It's a reward for patience, a validation of their belief in Jana as a complex individual. They are not celebrating a checkbox on a life script, they are celebrating the fulfillment of a quiet hope they held for someone they feel they've watched grow up. They are celebrating her agency. The comments are filled with phrases like, on her own terms, so happy for her, this is her time. The focus is squarely on Jana's happiness, her journey, her peace. And what of the rhythm she mentioned? That new rhythm they needed time to find? It is perhaps the most human element of all. The sleepless nights, the quiet feeds in the early morning, the learning of a new person, the recalibration of a marriage, these are universal experiences of new parenthood. By claiming that time for themselves, Jana and Stephen did something profoundly normal. But in the context of their world, making the normal choice required extraordinary intention. It required saying, implicitly, that their experience as a new family unit was more important than the public's immediate curiosity. As we look at the portrait of this new family of 3, we are witnessing more than a baby announcement. We are witnessing the closing of one long, public chapter and the opening of a deeply private, cherished volume. Jana Duggar spent years as the steady background force in a sprawling family saga. Now, she has quietly moved to the center of her own, much smaller, much quieter story. The cameras are off. The spotlight has dimmed to a lamp in a nursery. The only audience that matters is the tiny one in her arms. Her story now is not one for television. It is not built for recap or commentary. It is built for living. In choosing privacy, in claiming that gentle rhythm, Jana hasn't withdrawn from view so much as she has finally come into focus. The enigma is not a puzzle to be solved, but a person to be respected. And in the quiet joy of baby Archie's arrival, the message is clear. Some of the most powerful stories are the ones told in a whisper, in the space we choose to keep for ourselves. The rest, as they say, is for them. And finally, wonderfully, that seems to be enough.